Good day, everybody. Greetings, good morning, good afternoon, wherever the hell you are. I was just sitting down this morning, chowing down on some wonderful Spumoni Gardens pizza. And it came across in my head that last Halloween, I had neglected to do a series of videos that I said that I was going to be doing for a while. Probably not on camera, but I've been going to bed every night for the past year, last year, I guess, telling myself that I was going to do a series of videos about my favorite Scooby Doo movies. Mainly because there's just 4. Okay, maybe 6, but 4 of the really, really, really good ones. The ones that we all remember, the ones that I consider to be in the silver age of the Scooby Doo movies. They all came out around the early 2000s-ish, maybe one was made in the late 90s. But I figured nonetheless, I wanted to go through them all. So this general video, I'm just going to be going down the basics, the 4 that I'm going to be discussing. And then the next 4 videos that follow will be a series of me going into the details for each of the 4 specific films themselves. These aren't in any particular order. I am just naming the things I love most about these movies, and why I personally think they are the greatest 4 Scooby-Doo movies to have ever existed in the history of time and existence. First up, we have Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, which, phenomenal movie. Great way to introduce, and since it's canon, hey, the Scooby-Doo universe actually has aliens. Aliens are actually in it. It's an actual thing. So, introduces aliens into the Scooby-Doo universe. It's a great case. I really like the way they handled it, and it really, it's like genuinely nostalgically creepy, I think. And that's what I think is a running theme in all these 4 movies. So Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders. Next up we have Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, which it wanted to take the title of The First Time the Creatures Were Real. But then again, if you watch Scooby-Doo, the old series, the old movies, like with, Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers, Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, creatures were real back then. It was already proven. So Zombie Island isn't the first time supernatural things happen. They even said it in the trailer. It's like, this time the monsters are real. Yeah, well, they were real in the 1970s too. Okay, so you can't take that title, unfortunately. Although, going by canon, I don't know whether or not to count Zombie Island as being the first movie that these zombies or the creatures were real in, because way back in the 60s, 70s or whatever, they had that whole movie with Scooby-Doo where, oh, the Scooby-Doo show is actually, they actually work for Hollywood, and it's a studio and it's a show. Kind of like what they're doing with Family Guy now. Oh, it's just characters, they're in a show and they know they're in a show. That's what they did with Scooby-Doo back then. But then again, I figure that's kind of like a trademark of Hanna-Barbera. They did the same shit with Bugs Bunny, all those old Looney Tunes characters. Oh, they all know they're in a TV show. They just work for Hollywood. So, I don't know. Is it part of the new Scooby-Doo canon, Zombie Island, the first time the creatures are actually real? Does that mean to say that the Boo Brothers and the Reluctant Werewolf was all products of their in-universe Hollywood? Who knows? Whatever. Moving on. We'll go into further discussion about that in the actual Zombie Island video. Third on our list, we have Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. The Cyber Chase, I personally think was, well, it was definitely a big jump into the new millennium. It wasn't ghosts and goblins and mummies and voodoo crap anymore. It was like cybercomputer, virtual world type stuff, which I was really eager to see the Scooby-Doo franchise jump onto that. And I think they handled it really well. I've heard from a lot of people that the Cyber Chase movie wasn't all that... It was either not all that interesting because it didn't have the feel of the original, because they changed the characters' looks and everything, and they constantly make reference to, oh yeah, like, that's how we used to dress. But I think the Cyber Chase was handled really well, and I think it was a very good transition from the old Scooby-Doo into the new one, which eventually, I believe, came, What's New Scooby Doo, probably? Yeah, I think that was a good little go over. So it's like Cyber Chase is kind of like the send-off movie of like the early 2000s or the 90s. Last up, we have probably one of my favorites for two reasons. Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. I love this movie for two very big reasons. One, it's one of the coolest Scooby Doo movies I've ever seen. Three reasons. One of the coolest Scooby Doo movies I've ever seen. Tim Curry voice acts a villain in it. Love that Tim Curry. Gotta give me... Love him. I adore him. Anytime he plays a bad guy, anything he's in, it turns to gold. And I will argue that to the death. And thirdly, the VHS. Now, I was watching these movies back when they were on VHS. Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost on VHS had with it the pilot episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog, which is a whole other series of videos I'd love to do later on. But the Witch's Ghost, after watching the Witch's Ghost, it came after the movie ended, after everything was done. You got the pilot episode, The Chicken from Outer Space from Courage the Cowardly Dog, which was the third and biggest reason I love this movie. Not for like the actual movie, but for what came afterwards. And I'll get into that, more during that video. But yes, that is our countdown. Not in any particular order because I can't really choose between these films. All four of them are absolutely fantastic. Once again, that's Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, and Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. And if I had to pick a fifth Scooby-Doo movie, if I had to, absolutely, was forced to, gun to my head, had to, Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers. Really, really liked it. Wasn't a fan of the Boo School. Wasn't a fan of Reluctant Werewolf. Wasn't a fan of Scooby-Doo Goes to Hollywood. Because I feel like the people who made the cartoons back then kind of did that with all their characters. Like, oh, let's have them meet Batman. Let's have them meet Globetrotters. Let's have them meet horror icons. Let's have them go to Hollywood. Let's have them take a road trip. Like, okay, it's been done before. The Boo Brothers, I think, was definitely a great idea. And absolutely hilarious that they added a Ghostbusters when they're looking up people to stop the ghosts in Shaggy's uncle's whatever house because he earned a fortune or some shit. They look at a phone book for people to stop ghosts and the Ghostbusters are in there. Ha ha, hilarious. And yeah, I think that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Next video, expect an in-depth discussion about the Alien Invaders. After that, Zombie Island. After that, Cyber Chase. And to tie it all up nice and dandy, we're going to end it with the Witch's Ghost. So I will see you all there. Adios.